Yeah. True. Let's not go there.
So, when you think about it, it becomes very easy to be nihilistic, which is why this is episode 62 of the Halcyon Frequency podcast. I'm blind and I'm hosting again. It's been a minute. Kiri's here. Hello. How are you?
I'm okay. Thank you.
FG is also here and present.
Hi.
And talking.
Yes, I am here and present and talking, and I'm doing great. Thank you.
And we have a guest today who's joining us, and I'm just gonna say, hey, Raul, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell people who you are.
Hey, I'm RualStorge. I am a variety streamer on Twitch, and I'm most known for Project Zomboid because I used to hold a record in that. But otherwise, generally, I just advocate for people with disabilities and neurodivergent conditions and play games.
So on today's episode, we're going to be doing our usual shambling through kind of a intro set of topics where we talk about things that have been going on in the last week, and then we're going to talk about games, and then we have a big old news block at the end of the show. So should be a pretty good day's worth of Halcyon Frequency talking in your ears today. And I'm kind of floundering right now. It's been a while since I've hosted one of these, and when I don't host one for a little bit, it kind of goes... How do I do this again? Like, how does podcasting work? How does keeping a conversation flowing in a somewhat coherent fashion work? I don't know. There's a rubber duck on my desk. How is everybody doing?
Yeah, not too bad. But I was just gonna say I have the same thing if I don't stream for a few days, and then it's like, oh, this is weird. Wait, this is like I don't know. Like for the first like couple of minutes, it just feels really weird to do it because you're like it's really empty and quiet and. I'm just sitting here shouting at a microphone and
Definitely.
a screen.
And you're checking if everything's okay and you don't remember if you pressed all the buttons that you need to press, and it's fun.
Well, it's like even little things. Like I forgot to open up time.is today.
Yeah,
Wow.
happens.
It's little things.
Yeah,
It's all the little
true.
things.
I also forget where
All the-
I'm at in whatever game I'm playing, too. It's like, oh, I'm here. What was I doing?
Mm,
I have a
it is-
solution to that. Only play one game. And then the other games that you play, just make sure they're games that when you die, you start over. So, like, you're always at the beginning.
All right, yeah.
That's why
That's
you play
actually how I do it.
roguelikes. I see. So you play this.
It all
So I
makes
don't have to
sense
remember
now.
what I was doing. I'm done playing. All right, just yeet yourself into a chasm. Done.
I see. That's calculated. I like it. Well, didn't know that Blind would expose himself on this episode of the podcast, but apparently that's what's happening today.
Someone had to.
Yeah. Turns out, indeed.
That's it's all like chronically restarting games is like a pastime as far as I'm concerned.
Certain games, yes.
Certain types of games.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
I know this is like kind of video games, but not quite because it's not out yet. Did anybody here see that preview footage for the new Legend of Zelda?
Oh, I
No.
forgot. No. I saw
like,
that it was
they're just-
posted and I wanted to watch it, but I forgot.
They're just straight up making scrap mechanic now. But also like everything just has a property and you can attach anything to anything practically. So you can take like a door and attach it to a spear and it makes a giant fan that creates wind that pushes stuff back. Or like
Okay.
you could put a spear on a spear and just make a bigger spear. Or you could put a door on a sword and it swings at a different angle but has the same effect. Or you could put cut somebody's eyeball out and then put it onto an arrow and then it becomes a homing arrow.
Now that meme that I've seen makes so much more sense.
You could put a eyeball on a spear and then throw the spear and it's a homing spear.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
It sounds like a bunch of people at Nintendo just watched all of those physics videos of people just like launching themselves across the map using stasis or whatever, and we're just like, hey, what if we just did that?
I do have to admit, I haven't even played Breath of the Wild.
Neither have I. I don't own a Switch, and I don't really have any intention on buying a Switch, so it's not super high on my priority list of things to do.
Yeah,
But
makes sense.
I played it for
I'm looking
several
forward
hours,
to all the YouTube videos.
and it was fun, but I just never finished it.
It's a big game.
Yeah.
There's a lot to do.
I kind of
There's
miss. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I was just gonna say there's also an ability that like you press a button and you just appear on top of whatever roof of the thing you're standing in is. So there's like a video of like Link just walking around in like a dungeon and then just like flying up to the ceiling and then crawling out of the dirt. I don't know. It looks like a game that's designed to be sequence broke. Looks kind of wild in that regard. Anyway, what were you gonna say, FG?
I was just gonna say I kind of miss the old type of Zelda games, the more puzzly, dungeon-focused ones. I don't know. I kind of miss them.
The last Legend of Zelda that I played was A Link Between Worlds on the 3DS. Which
Yeah, me
was
too.
very much that.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
I think the last Zelda game I actually properly played was Link to the Past. Like, when it went 3D, I just wasn't into it.
Yeah, some of them definitely.
A friend of mine from a couple of years ago tried to convince me that I really wanted to play the Wind Waker when that remastered version came out, and I just kind of, I don't know, bounced off it. I don't think I actually made it off the first island.
Yeah,
Just
I miss
Started
the
plugging
puzzly
away
ones.
and was like, eh.
But I mean, clearly a lot of people it's resonating with a lot of people, so I guess good for them.
Yeah, well, I mean, they have characters that people like, right? They have archetype characters that are simple to transplant into other things that people like. And they've figured out what the younger generation wants, which is big infinite sandbox. People like Minecraft. People like, I don't know, Rust. People like, big games where you can just kind of build things. They sell very well on Steam, so why don't they just make a big sandbox and put a bunch of tools in it?
Makes sense.
Add some dungeons, splat Ganon in there somewhere.
Can I just say what sort of announced, like teased sort of Nintendo game that I'm kind of low-key excited about? They announced that they're working on a new Layton, and I'm actually excited about that. So Professor Layton, that puzzle, like, which is just puzzles, and they're kind of going back to the old ones because because Layton obviously like the series with Professor Layton as the character ended, so they tried to like pivot to a new character, and that just didn't work. So they're kind of going back. They're not bringing him back, but they're kind of going more to the old school, because they also kind of changed how the game worked a little bit, and they're going more back to like the old school ones. And I'm actually kind of low-key excited for that because I actually really enjoyed those ones on the DS and whatnot. The Layton games were really good.
I played one of the Layton games. I couldn't tell you which one it was.
I
have them
never
all.
heard of that before.
Really?
No.
You've never heard of the Professor Layton games?
No.
They're just
Ah,
puzzle games.
they're puzzle games, yeah.
Yeah,
but
probably that's why.
well, no, they're not necessarily like
They're
I
not
know what
hard.
you mean. Like there's puzzle games that are just kind of tedious, but these are like charming. They're really nice. They have a really nice art. Not all the puzzles are like super difficult, and they're not really like necessarily puzzly. They're more like they're a bit there's a lot of cleverness in it. Like the puzzles are somewhat simple, but when you do it, you feel clever as well. Like I don't know,
They're
it's
games that make you feel smart.
Okay.
yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
Okay,
and it's
I like the sound of that.
yeah, and it's a bit about like pattern recognition in certain bits and that sort of stuff. Like those types of puzzles, not like super duper like moon logic type things. Either. Like I really enjoyed them.
I love how mood logic just lives in everybody's vocabulary these days, and I wonder how many people actually know where it comes from.
I
At this
don't know
point.
where it comes from, but it's an adventure game. Moon logic.
Monkey Island.
Mr. Moon was one of the designers on puzzles in Monkey Island,
Yeah.
I see.
and he was notorious for making puzzles that made absolutely no logical sense.
Well, today I learned.
Yes.
I played the original Monkey Island when it came out, like at the time, but I did not know. I was not aware of Mr. Moon's involvement.
He was just one of their puzzle designers.
Mm.
But yeah,
Gotcha.
Moon Logic is a very notorious thing as well in like just other point and clicks because he traveled around a bit and then the term just kind of took off. It's like, oh, do you have a puzzle where like the pieces make no sense and the outcome makes no sense? That's Moon logic. Bad puzzle design.
I'm not clever for most adventure games, so they don't make me feel clever because of that. So what you do is you just have all the items in your bag and just drag them on top of each other to figure out if some of them maybe stick together.
Yeah.
And that's not fun.
No, that's really not fun.
Raul, do you have any experience with nonsensical logic and point and click games?
I've played plenty of things like Day of the Tentacle and stuff like that in the past, and just finding sort of like, all right, I have the item, let me just wander across the entire map and attempt to apply it to everything because nothing makes sense in this world. But it's a lot of fun.
Playing the entire joy of playing something like Day in the Tentacle, that was just looking at the animations.
Oh yeah.
That's true, yeah.
Sometimes you gotta push old ladies downstairs.
Or if you're playing Maniac Mansion, you have to put a hamster in a microwave.
Okay.
No, both of you are on a list. Well,
Have you never played Maniac Mansion?
I never did, no.
It's the game that comes before Day of the Tentacle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like both of those were not super big adventure
They
games in the
weren't
German
big over
speaking
here
sphere. Like even for adventure games, like I mean, adventure games is obviously a subset of gamers only, but like even like those were not that prolific. Like I don't think I know anybody like from like my at the time that played them when they came out.
It was either Maniac Mansion or Day of the Tentacle where you can actually like game over yourself by killing the main character. I can't remember which one it was.
I think probably Maniac Mansion, because there's definitely a couple ways you could game over that one. Day of the Tentacle is far more merciful.
I just remember that all you had to do was stand in the pool and then fill up the pool and then just wait.
Like, I think you could also blow up the house in Maniac Mansion if you drained the pool, which cooled off the the nuclear reactor underneath the pool. I believe you could destroy the house that way as well.
Yeah, video games. They were wild.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, why is there a nuclear reactor underneath the pool?
It's Maniac Mansion. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I mean, you got to keep it cooled off.
That's true. That's true.
You wouldn't want to put someplace else in the house.
And also, like, I would say that's very environmentally friendly. You know, you get a heated pool, and your house doesn't blow up. But on the topic of things that probably need to blow up, I think we got a long list of video games to talk about this week. So I think we're going to take a real quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about the games that we've been playing this week. And we're back with episode 62 of the Halcyon Frequency podcast. We've got quite the list of games to talk about here, and I think the one that I'm going to throw us into right now is our guest, Raul, who's going to give us kind of the elevator pitch on a game that's come up on the show before, and I think has since left early access, which is Sunhaven.
Yeah, so Sunhaven is a slice of life game. So it kind of gives you certain feels of like Stardew Valley kind of vibe. But it's got like way more depth going on for it. So like one of the comparison I've been using on my stream is when you play Stardew Valley, you do a bunch of foraging, you hit level 5 and it goes, okay, choose A or B. And that's fine. You get that again at like level 10. Whereas with Sunhaven you go all the way up to like level 50, and each and every level you get a point, and there's a tree that like you get 4 different options per tier per 5 points and all that. So there's like a whole bunch happening that you can kind of min-max. And on top of that, like Stardew Valley, your end goal is make Grandpa proud. Whereas, I mean, there's all the community stuff too, but in Sunhaven, there's actually like an overarching story where you're trying to save the world and all that. So it's like someone took, the story from Secret of Mana, not literally the story, but that kind of an epic, mashed it in with Stardew Valley, added broader systems, and said, "There's your game." So it's been really good. I would say it's underrated, but everyone I've heard play it has liked it. I would say it's not being found as much as it deserves.
Yeah, as somebody who like kind of almost, I want to say, spearheaded like the movement on Twitch to stream Sunhaven. Now that it's out in 1.0 release, I 100% agree. It's been so fun and I've been enjoying it. I've played like 60 hours. I'm just now in Winter 1, and it's just, it gives you that Stardew Valley feel, but it's new because you haven't seen it before, you haven't played it before, because it's not Stardew Valley. It's something different, and it does certain things different, and it does I think certain things better. It does certain things worse. It's by no means perfect. There's definitely some stuff, some quality of life things that I would hope that they add later on still, but like it's just been so nice to sink into a live sim game that's finished, and that is it's just fun. It's like everything is, the systems work, there's so much story, there's so much content, and it's just it's good. I know I gushed about this game like 2 weeks ago already, so I'm going to keep my contribution brief here. I'm still liking it. I still have played more. As I said, 60 hours in. It's still good. Get it.
One of the things I'll add, which may have been talked about in the last one, I don't know, but one of the things I do appreciate about it is there's a lot of mechanics that people add to game that I refer to as slowdown mechanics, that they're just stuff to prolong gameplay. I haven't seen much of that, and like some of the ones that are popular in the genre, like the stamina bar, where you have to manage your stamina for the whole day and your character gets tired, so you'll have days in other games that, it's only like 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. your character's about ready to collapse with exhaustion, and your choices are like consume half your product just to keep going or end your day early. That this doesn't do, and I appreciate it. And they also have like where you can toggle off different things if you find them annoying. You go, okay, well, I'm kind of over combat. I've got like 300 hours into this game or whatever. I don't feel like fighting something. You can just say, yeah, I'm invincible now, so never mind. And I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. It's very good. I guess the only limiting factor really is that you do have to go and sleep at night. Like you can only stay out until midnight. But considering that you can increase a game day, like an in-game day, to IRL 40 minutes, that's, I think, is okay. Like you can get a lot done in 40 minutes. And but you can make days as short as 15 minutes as well if you want to, I don't know, get through a season quickly or something like that as well, which is really nice.
It still sounds super interesting. I will play it eventually, but I didn't get it during the Steam sale, the spring sale. I'm playing other games right now. There's no point in getting it right now, but I will eventually, because you make it sound so fun.
It's so fun. It's so fun.
Games like that also don't really... People don't generally lose interest in them. Like, from a watching perspective, people will just kind of watch that type of game, I find.
Yeah, it's just like, because you can kind of jump in and out. I mean, yes, there's a broader story, but I mean, I've had streams where I've done zero story progression. I've just done farming and mines and all that sort of stuff and fishing, and it's there's always something to do, but you don't miss out if you weren't there for like the last 2 hours or something. You usually generally don't miss that much happening anyways. So it's good. It's been really fun. I've been really enjoying it. There's
always like 8 things you need to be doing at the same time. The game is like, here's 3 different things you could do in opposite areas. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll choose one.
But I mean, that's what these types of games do. They just give you so much to do, so you have like a to-do list and you forget half of the stuff.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, and then you go back and you're like, oh crap, I was gonna drop this off at the museum. Oh, there's this character that I need to give a present to. Oh, fishing. Oh, that's sparkling. That's a legendary fish. I gotta go get this. Oh, what was I doing of it? Okay. It's like...
yeah, one of those games. I see.
Yeah. But it's really good. Like honestly, I feel so sad. Like I feel like these devs could have taken like a real advantage of like Twitch and promotions through Twitch and YouTube. Because I think they would have, like, it's getting there. Like more people are buying the game, but I feel like they could have taken real good advantage of Twitch. It's a hidden gem for sure. Still, like yeah. Like if you look at it, like it has, I mean, it's now up to 4.6 thousand reviews on Steam, so it's getting there. Like it's slowly, like, that's quite a lot of reviews actually. But more people are getting
over 100,000 copies.
Yeah,
with that number.
Yeah, it's getting there now. Yeah, it took a while. Took a while to ramp up. Yeah, it really did. Like it's been out. I mean, it's been out for 3 weeks at this point now, and it's obviously wasn't early access as well. So people bought this. You know, it has been on sale for 18 months technically. So
I wonder if it'll end up like Terraria, because when Terraria first came out, it came out kind of a whisper, and momentum built up, and it became what it became.
I mean, that would be great. I would really like it. I feel like I don't know, they shot themselves a little bit in the foot, because what they did is, so they had released Sunhaven, but like literally a couple of days before, on the 25th of February, they also released Sundown, which is sort of farming plus Vampire Survivors, sort of similar to Atomic Crops a little bit. But they released this like 2 weeks before the other game came out in full release, which people didn't know at the time. So they were all like, oh my God, you're releasing a game when your other game is still in early access, rah. And they released it. And then a day later, they patched 1.1, which added a lot of content to the game. Like before, there was no roguelite, there was no progression. Like there was no meta progression, even though it said on their screen there was like on the Steam page it says there's meta progression, that sort of stuff. So I don't know. They have such cool ideas, and they have such good they have really good pixel art and all that sort of stuff, and the gameplay is solid, but they end up making like decisions that kind of shoot themselves in the foot a little bit. I don't know why. It's very odd. It's very odd. But still, Sunhaven is really good. Play it.
Too long, didn't read. Good.
Yeah, a little bit.
Man, people are being real mean to Sundown in these reviews.
Yeah, I mean it was kind of a botched release, and I don't know why they had to release it that quickly and then patch like a whole actual end game into the game a day later. Like, why not just delay release for a few days? I don't know. It's odd decisions. A little odd.
Organizational problems.
Maybe, yeah, like. Maybe. I don't know. I bought it. I haven't actually yet played it. I was going to play it and check it out as well, because I do like Atomic Crops, but like, I don't know. It's technically not an early access, I think, Sundown.
Nope,
so,
it's just a full release.
Yeah, it's not expensive. I mean, it's £4, but like, yeah, don't know if they're going to add more to it. But it takes place in the Sunhaven universe. So if you want more Sunhaven universe, I guess you can get Sundown, which is just a completely different genre.
I was wondering.
Speaking about the Sunhaven universe, Kiri and FG, do you guys want to talk to us about Terra Nil, the very heavily anticipated by some people anti-city builder?
I guess. Do you want to go first, FG? And I'll be the counter voice to everything you say, probably.
Yes, sure. Okay. So Terra Nil is not actually an anti-city builder. It's a puzzle game. It's an environmentally, your job is to restore the environment. It's a puzzle game. So it's not an anti-city builder. There's no city building or anything like that, or you don't really build back a city with like logistics or anything like that. It is a puzzle game. It's got gorgeous art. It's I found it relaxing to play. I took my time with it and very slowly played through the maps and kind of worked on unlocking everything. I was kind of looking forward to it, but I never actually played the demo. But I know a lot of people were excited for it, so I played it as well on release, and I had a good time with it. I didn't love it, but I think it's good. But yeah, it's not a silly builder. It is definitely for people who like puzzle games.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting.
No.
How good would you say that this game would be on a touchscreen?
No, it's not a touchscreen game at all. No.
Because it's apparently free on Netflix, which
that is
or
true.
included with your Netflix subscription, which yes, it is actually.
Interesting.
So I'm downloading that on my phone right now.
Yeah, I don't think I would enjoy playing it on a phone, but then I don't game on a phone per se. ever?
Just from the controls, I think it would work.
Maybe.
Yeah, no, actually, because when you're about to play something, you move the mouse around to see where it goes. But then I suppose that's probably just an extra confirmation step if you use touch screen.
Yeah.
So I suppose it works well.
Yeah. So the thing is, so the game has different difficulty settings. It has Zen mode as well. There are 4 maps and then 4. So that's the story mode, because there's a little bit of a story. Like you play through 4 different maps, you restore different biomes, you bring back different animals. On one map, you put penguins and polar bears together, which is really weird. And everybody in my chat was like super disturbed by it and just went like, they don't live together. What are we doing here?
They live on opposite ends of the planet.
Yeah, that was really weird. And I would say after you've played those 4 maps, the actual game starts and the puzzles get really hard. The 4 alternative maps are actually really hard and they require you to like start, then fail, and then restart the map again. And sometimes the map RNG just screws you over as well because the maps are randomly generated. They have dedicated features. Like, for example, one will have like buildings on it. The other one will have like, it's like a crater and there's like rivers and stuff. But like the way it's actually laid out is like randomly generated. And sometimes the layout is just really bad and you get screwed over. So I liked it. I didn't love it. But I think there's a certain type of people that will really, really like it. If you like puzzly games where you have to you trial and error stuff and you have to, try again, figure things out. I think people will really enjoy that. I was kind of surprised how short it was, like the first 4 maps. But I guess if the real nitty gritty is like in the later maps, I guess that makes sense. I kind of wish the maps had been bigger and you'd kind of done more like on a bigger map, bigger scale, and work up from that. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't hyped for it in the first place, but there is, I don't know, a little bit lacking for me. Like, it's not bad, but it's also not like 100% for me, the game, but I also didn't hate it. So for me, it's probably more like a sort of like a 7 out of 10, maybe a 6 out of 10 game rather than like a 1 out of 10 or 10 out of 10. But, Kiri, you have an opinion as well, don't you?
I do. I agree on gorgeous art because it is. It's got chill music, which is nice.
Very quiet though.
Super quiet,
so
yes. I told them though. I told the developers because they were in my chat, so they're gonna make the music louder, and they're also gonna add accessibility settings to turn off the screen shake. Because in certain levels there is screen shake.
Yeah, I found the snow worse though. Oh my god, the snow and the rain.
The snow was bad when I was zoomed out a lot and kind of had like half of the screen was the actual diorama and half of the screen was just nothing. Like over the edge, basically. That was bad for me.
Yep.
So I made sure I didn't do that. But
yeah, same.
I like the concept a lot. I like that you restore the planet, restore the ecosystem, and then after you're done with all your buildings and stuff, everything's green, you've restored and brought back the animals, you pack up your buildings, you recycle everything, and you leave with no trace, leaving no trace behind. And I love that concept. I'm not one for puzzle games. And so I played through those first 4 levels, the I don't know, it's all the base game, but I
story
also
mode. I would call it story mode.
It's not a story though. You're not telling a story. You're just restoring like a part of each continent of the planet.
But it's connected because later on at the end you go back, quote unquote, to all of the biomes to grab the things and then leave, don't you? So
Yeah.
it's sort of a campaign. I don't know.
A campaign.
Yeah.
There is no story though, but yeah. So you play those 4 levels. They're okay. And I didn't like the early game in each level because I kind of had a decision paralysis where do I start? Where do I put this building? Because I didn't know what I had to do later. And you place buildings, you spend resource points, and then you have certain buildings, like if you use the toxic scrubber and remove the toxicity from the ground, and then you get the irrigator, you turn it green again, and then you get those resource points again. So you have to do it well, and that stressed me out so much. So I didn't find it chill at all. I enjoyed the mid and end game of each level because then I had enough resource and I knew I was going to be fine no matter what. I absolutely detested the level where you have to melt snow. I was so excited. Volcanic glacier, we're going to be in a winter biome. What you have to do, you have to melt the snow. Unbelievable.
Well,
So-
you melt it first because it's polluted, and then you can bring it
The
back.
ground below is polluted, yes, you remove the snow, but they don't actually tell you that right away. So I got really mad about it and upset. And then I figured out, oh yeah, I have to bring the snow back. But while doing so, I still had lava on the map. And it's like, come on. Anyway, so I played through those first 4 levels, and then you get to the super hard ones, as FG mentioned. And the first one was the quarry, I think. And that was when I actually made it close to my breaking point because the map the game didn't tell you a certain thing. It actually told you the complete opposite because I was stuck in a cycle of I need trees. In order to build a forest, I need a ruin of a building. In order to get that, you need to set fire to a certain biome. But in order to get the biome, you need a tree. So I was stuck in that circle of I can't make this happen because I don't have any of these things. And in the previous level, the easier one, you could set fires and that was okay. In this level, you had the same building and it told you specifically you can only set fire to that biome. Done. But I couldn't get that biome. Turns out you can set fire to something else as well, but the game doesn't tell you. It specifically says it only works on that biome. And I got really mad about it. And then the next super hard level, I rage quit. I just absolutely rage quit. That was it. So I think it's a good game for certain people. Definitely not for me. No. I got so upset, and that really doesn't happen a lot.
That's interesting because, like, I feel like this is one of those instances where the game maybe isn't communicated that well as to what it is from the outside looking in.
Yeah, because they say it's a strategy game. They don't ever mention it's a puzzle game, but it is a puzzle game.
Yeah, it's definitely a puzzle game, 100%. Like, it's not a city builder. It's not like a strategy game. It's a puzzle game because you have to figure out how to utilize the environment to build what you need. And that's just, it's either you get super lucky and you trial and error it, or you have to puzzle it out.
Yeah, and then if you mentioned that already, the super hard levels, you have to play them, fail, and then try again. But I spent 2 hours on that level until I realized this is not working the way I'm doing it. I have to start over. But after spending 2 hours really being annoyed by the game, I don't want to start over. Like, that's just it. So yeah, it's definitely not for me. It's not bad, but it's not for me.
Yeah, I had a not bad time with it, but I'm also not like hyped to get back to it.
I already uninstalled it. I'm not going to touch that ever again.
No, there are some achievements that I still want to get because they're easy to get.
Yeah, no,
And that's
I
it.
can't be bothered.
Yeah, and if you care about achievements, some of the achievements in the game are really hard. Like, really hard.
I'm going to say let's shift gears kind of completely and dive underwater. Raul, do you want to talk about Dave the Diver?
Okay, so Dave the Diver is kind of a fun, different game where you're a very large diver, who you go in and you dive underwater, you catch fish during the day. In the evenings, you pop up top and you are like the manager at a sushi shop where you're also like the waiter and everyone else. And it has this fun like aesthetic to it. Like you're going through and you find out secrets while you're diving and there's all sorts of stuff going on down there. But the cinematics that happen are beyond over the top ridiculous in the best of ways. Just like I'm not gonna spoil any of the things, but like when you research a recipe, just they have like this entire sequence of like the chef learning the new recipe and all that with all these ridiculous cinematics, and like genuinely it had me in tears laughing once or twice just because you was like, all right, I'm gonna get a weird reaction out of this, and then how over the top it was catches you off guard. I didn't end up getting a chance to quite finish it because it's still early access, and I think I had one more story quest, but I got into a situation where I bugged my character and none of the controls responded, so I got to watch myself slowly drown.
Oh no.
And I was like, okay, I've been playing this for a bunch of hours. Like, I'm gonna wait till it's done so I can keep doing it. But it's a lot of fun. You just catch fish, you get a bunch of upgrades, you do all that stuff. But you have like the upgrade path, and then you have like the sushi restaurant part, which is just kind of it feels like a very mild plate up or something, where you don't have like all the different automation stuff you do. You just run around and you have staff and everything, and try and serve customers in enough time.
This game is impressive to me because it's got 10,000 overwhelmingly positive reviews.
Oh wow!
Like, good lord.
I remember playing the demo, and I enjoyed the gameplay loop, but trouble with the camera and simulation sickness. And I don't think they changed that yet. I don't think there are any settings to make the camera better.
Nope. No.
Yeah. Okay.
It has when you're diving, it's got smooth cam. And
it zooms, doesn't it, or something when you use the harpoon? I think.
Yeah, it zooms in and out. Yeah, it does the whole intensely focused zooming in, and there's screen shake that you can't turn off. Like for me, I didn't enjoy that part about it, but it didn't make me sick. Luckily, like I could play it. Did you actually get to like chapter 3, Rawl?
I'm trying to remember the chapters.
Where all the story stuff happens, where you have like the flashback and that sort of stuff of like Bancho and the hotel and everything. Did you get to that part? Like that's how it starts.
Oh yeah. I was sitting there because I got because I'm trying to not spoil.
Yeah.
I will say I got to the part involving a princess, is what I will say.
Okay. I found I really enjoyed the game up until chapter 3, because then there was so much text and story. Like, and it's just, I'm just like, I just want to go back and catch more fish and do Dino Dash sushi bar stuff. And I don't want to sit through, because when you start that chapter, you'll legit have 15 minutes where you just sit there and read out text because stuff is happening. And it's obviously not voice acted, so you have to read it all out. And it's just 15 minutes. And it's come on, let me get back in the water.
Yeah, there are definitely parts where you had a bunch of story. I guess part of the thing that's throwing me off, because at the same time I'm playing Sunhaven and I played Stardew before that, so maybe I'm used to ridiculous amounts of dialogue. Don't get me wrong, Sunhaven's not bad about it.
Maybe, yeah.
There's definitely been worse. There's definitely been games where I pull it up and it's new game, you're just starting. How would you feel about 8 paragraphs? Oh, and there's a third page of these. Before you play any controls, and you're like, all right, come on. I know you want to do your world building, but can we take this in bites, please?
Yeah, I don't know. I found it very jarring from before. I mean, yes, there was text, but there was always a bit of story. There was a bit of a backstory, but it wasn't never that jarringly long. And then, because all the quests after that, there's also lots of story with the princess and everything like that. And I kind of felt like you kind of stepped away from the whole fishing thing. And I'm like, just let me fish.
Yeah, there's definitely times in games you're like, you know what? I'm here for a good story sometimes, but right now I just want to play your game.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't actually finished it, but I think they announced their 1.0 release date not too recently, right? Maybe in the summer? Am I remembering that correctly? That they are gonna do like a. I want to say that they like talked about that or something. Maybe I'm confusing it with a different game.
I honestly have no
But yeah,
idea the 1.0 story for the game.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but no, I really hope that they add some accessibility settings because while
That
I
would
was
be
able
nice.
to play it, it was not super duper nice because, like, it did make me sick, but like if I can turn off screen check, I want to turn it off. So I really hope they add some stuff in the future because it's a good game. Like the gameplay loop is very satisfying and it's fun.
So, next on the list here that I really want to hear about is FG. You played Dredge.
I did.
Oh,
How's
Oh.
Dredge? I know that we've talked about Dredge quite a few times on this show, so
Yeah.
I guess impressions of the actual game now instead of demos.
So I really liked it. It's really good. They nailed the atmosphere. The art is gorgeous. I'm not going to tell anything about the story, except there's 2 endings. So you can choose what you want to do.
wait, have you finished it already?
I
Yeah, I
have
was gonna say,
finished
how
it.
long is
It's
it?
short. It's short.
Oh.
It took me 14 hours.
Okay.
While streaming. I
streaming.
did not 100% the achievements. Meaning I did not get all the upgrades. I did not get all the fish that you can catch in it. So I didn't spend time on doing that. So actual completion is probably a good, I would say 2 hours more maybe. So it's not the longest of games, but it at the same time it felt good to finish it at the point where it finishes. So they kind of nailed the length, right? It's short, but not too short, and it doesn't overstay its welcome either. And you can always go back. So no spoilers, but you get a hard save before you do all the ending stuff. So you can always go back and get like achievements that you missed. So you can
Oh, that's
do
nice.
like all the fishing and you can all the upgrades and that sort of stuff. You can get all of those. You can also get both endings with one save file. I'll also say that if you care, you don't have to start a whole new playthrough to get the other ending or anything like that, which is nice too. And it's just good. Like the fishing mini games are fun. They don't overstay their welcome. Like they're not annoying. They're sometimes a bit tricky, but they're not like tricky that you sit there frustrated and you fail all the time. They also have a relaxing fishing mode if you don't want to do all the mini games, or you want to make it a bit easier on yourself, or you maybe have some hand-eye or like issues with your hands, for example, and that sort of stuff. Art is gorgeous. The music is good. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It could do with some more accessibility settings for simulation sickness, because I know Kiri tried it and just you couldn't.
Yeah,
right?
no,
You just
I
couldn't.
had to know about immediately. But they
Yeah,
have so many accessibility options already in the game. It's just not for simulation sickness.
Yeah, so I think your biggest issue was that the camera will straighten itself out when you start going like forward. It'll
No.
like, if you're looking at an angle and then you wait and it will straighten itself out itself.
No, you can actually turn it off.
Okay, so what was
turned it
the
off.
problem?
My problem was when I turn the boat to the left or to the right, the camera, I don't know, does a weird thing. Like it swivels, kind of, and then it was really strange.
It does have a bit, yeah. When you turn, it does have a bit of smooth cam going on as well. That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, it does.
And
do
it's
that,
so
yeah.
fast too. Because there was camera sensitivity, but that was only for when you turn the camera with a mouse, but not when you turn the boat. So I could go straight, but I couldn't turn the boat.
Yeah, and you definitely need to turn the boat in certain situations. I was surprised it was fine with me. The only thing that got me is, so there's it's basically like the best description is like it's sunless skies or sunless seas, but with fishing. So you do go insane and you do go, mad if you're not careful. And you can turn this off, but by default, it has like this extreme chromatic aberration, and that made me sick. So I turned it off, which is fine. Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because you can turn it off, but it still has the effect in the menu.
It does have the effect in the menu, yeah. Yeah, you can't turn it off in the menu, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, but
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully they add some more boat settings as well, so you can play. Because
I told them on Twitter, or I asked them on Twitter, basically. I haven't heard anything back. I don't know.
Yeah, I know it's really good. It nails the atmosphere like really good. It feels it's like suspenseful and like the horror, but it's not like cheap horror. It's not jump scary. It's really good. Like it's
Maybe I'll need to buy Dredge.
I would recommend it. Yeah, it's fun. Like I enjoyed it. And as I said, it's like short, right? It's 14 hours, so it's not like.
I was worried it was going to be like a 90-hour game, and I'm just like, man, I don't need another one to not finish.
And I mean, to be fair, I definitely spent several hours just kind of boating around, also like catching just random fish here and there and making money and that sort of stuff. You can probably finish it even faster than what I did. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. And the writing isn't like, it's not Sunless Sea, Sunless Sky level of writing, but then that's just like amazing levels of writing.
What is, though?
But like it does enough to like make a shiver go down your back in certain bits. Like the descriptions of the fish. Like I recommend like, because you get the fish versions, then you get the aberration versions of the fish, and like just to read those like descriptions, you kind of go like, that's not.
I've heard enough.
Yeah, it's great.
Enough. Yep.
Oh yeah, that just because like I remembered it. Real quick, slight spoiler for Sunhaven. There is a spider character in the third map. Like she's not super spidery, but there's a little bit of spiderness going on, Kiri.
All right.
Just as a warning, it's the tailor in the third town. I don't think it's too bad, but she does call herself a spider and that sort of stuff.
I think that's all right because it's pixel art.
Yeah.
But
just as a warning.
Only the spiders in Diablo 4 dropping from the ceiling. I was terrified.
They will do that. Kill it with fire.
Yeah. Kill it with ice, I think, but it worked.
Fire, ice, lava,
everything.
sword.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I actually screamed and froze and it closed my eyes. It was that bad.
Just don't knock your desk over.
No, I didn't do that.
That's good.
That's good. But yeah, no, that was my review of Dredge. Basically, it's really good. Buy it.
Maybe I should buy it and play through Dredge so that we can do a spoiler cast, FG.
Yeah, I really enjoyed
Talk
it.
about story.
Yeah.
All right. So I got 2 games that I could talk about. I'm gonna ask you guys which one you guys would like to hear, and then I think maybe I'll save the other one for the next episode.
Okay.
But I got Death Roads and Full Gear. Death Roads is a card game, and Full Gear is a roguelike that has graphics that look like they were drawn in MS Paint.
Full Gear.
Full Gear.
Same. I don't like card games.
Okay. I mean, I don't like card games either, but I played a card game, which
okay.
is like saying something for me.
Yeah, that is always saying something. Okay.
But so Full Gear it is then?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, Full Gear is a steampunk traditional roguelike made by a single developer. And I'm not joking when I say that its graphics look like they were drawn in MS Paint. I recommend going to the Steam page and having a look at it. I think it's got 4 reviews currently.
Oh.
It's like $12. It has a demo, so you can go play it. It's kind of interesting. So first off, when you start the game up, there's a lot of dialogue at the beginning. It's got a lot of writing in it. And a lot of very like cinematic bits for a game like this, like, character walks onto screen, fade to black, dialogue pops up on screen kind of thing. So there's a lot of production value in this thing, first off. Second, it's got some really neat mechanics, but the way that they're presented is also really interesting. So it's a traditional roguelike, so you go in, you die, you start at the beginning, no meta progression, right? But it's got a mode where it arbitrarily locks half of its features and drip feeds them to you as if it were a game with meta progression, which is kind of neat. So if you're somebody who needs to like have things given to you slowly over time, you can just simply click a different button when you go to start the game, and it arbitrarily locks a bunch of features and then drip feeds them to you instead of just throwing them all at your face. So if you're not somebody who likes to, get everything all at once, and just learn, you can kind of have a more normal, I guess, progression to a modern video game. So with that aside, it's a it's a steampunk roguelike. So it's entirely gear-based. There's no experience. But you run around this kind of dungeon area after completing the pretty good little tutorial, which I managed to hard lock at one point because I put a thing in a wrong order. But once you get through the little tutorial, it's a dungeon crawler. So it's a turn-based roguelike. Time moves when you move, so you move, they take their turn, etc. It seems to be working on a timeline system, so things have different priorities. But the kind of unique mechanic is you get a gear, and the gear goes in the bottom right of the screen. And as you progress, you'll be able to assign items to your gear. And each turn you take, the gear flips one, forward, right? When the item that hits the top activates whenever the gear rotates. So you could fill it up with heals. You could fill it up with little effects. You could fill it up with passives. And they all trigger as you're moving. So there will be points where, okay, I'm in a bad way and there's a robot running at me, but if I wait 4 turns, then I'll get a boost for 3 turns or whatever. So you're it becomes very positioning focused of just okay, how can I move my little dude here to a different angle so that I have my lightning smack when they're next to me. Combine that with also you'll be finding parts around in the world, which can be assembled into autonomous drones that just operate independently of you, that you have some control over, but mostly just do their own thing. And it's literally just okay, I found an engine. Okay, I found a little control computer. Okay, I found a gun. Okay, now I can strap these together into a drone. Or I could just make one with an engine and a control computer and eyes and use it as extended vision. So there's a lot of customizability there that I haven't even scratch the surface of. There's also differing gears with different numbers of forks on the edges of them, so that when they pop up to the top, you have either less or more power-ups that you put on it. So instead of having a cog with 8 all the way around, you could have one with 12, you could have one with 4. So if you want your heal pop-up to pop up more frequently, you can use the other ones. It has a bunch of modifiers that make the game harder. I've seen the first few areas, and so far I've encountered many a robot that want to cut my face into pieces, weird lizards and snakes and things, and also friendly, air quotes, engineers that will talk to you and scold you for breaking their hard work. And it's kind of got an Indiana Jones sort of vibe. The conceit for you dying is that the person who's at the top of the dungeon put an implant in your brain that kills you and clones you right before you die so that you reappear and you're still alive. And there's some persistent dialogue from run to run. So they talk in between runs and she yells at you for not making it very far. It's a neat little thing. And I don't know how much I'd recommend it to people who don't like these types of games, because it's one of those genres where you either love them or you don't know that they exist. But I don't know. I was initially turned off by the art. I don't like the way the game looks, but the more I play it, I'm wow, there's actually a lot here. So it's neat. That's full gear.
I have to say, when you talked about it and you said this is MS Paint art, I imagined it to be looking so much worse than it actually does.
But it looks like it was drawn in MS Paint.
Yeah, but by somebody who
art,
can somewhat draw, I would not be able to do this. Yeah.
But when I use MS Paint for something, it doesn't look that good.
Yeah, same.
There's some MS Paint wizards out there.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm not knocking it, but it kind of has that aesthetic to me.
I was definitely mentioning something worse. It is definitely simplified art in a way, but it's a very uniform style almost throughout the game, I think. So I think there's some people who would really like this, or who like this art. It doesn't look bad. It's just a choice, really, I think.
Also, reading reviews of it, because I'm unfamiliar with this developer's history. Apparently, they've made a lot of Minecraft maps with a similar aesthetic in the past.
Oh,
so
interesting.
They're a Minecraft map maker turned developer.
That's cool.
Yeah. But,
nice.
Yeah, neat little game. Showed up in my inbox. Tried it. Enjoyed it.
Cool.
Want to play more.
Nice.
That's always good.
All right. So I'm looking at the list here, and, I just because I've seen the reviews of it, FG, why are you playing The Last of Us?
See, that's what I put it. That's why I put it on there, because I'm like the 1% of people for who the game actually runs well.
Oh, really?
Like,
You have the exact setup that they developed it on.
yeah, well, so no, like apparently, so I have like this perfect storm of components and OS that actually make the game run really well. So, to recap, Last of Us Part 1, the remaster, finally came out for PC 10 years later after the original came out, and a while after the remaster came out for consoles, and it's a mess in a way. Like it takes forever to, when you start up the game, it takes forever to build shaders, like or cache shaders. It literally can take up to like 2 hours. Like, people have run out of refund time because they were still building shaders. And it's just bad, right? That's just bad. Like,
That's
that should not
ridiculous.
happen.
That's absurd.
It's insane. I mean, like, Horizon Zero Dawn had the same problem to a degree, not as bad though, like the PC port. I remember I was gonna stream it, and I got the game, and I installed it, and I started it, and then I was literally sitting on stream, waiting for half an hour for the shaders to cache, and just had nothing to do. So like, it's not unheard of that happens with Sony ported games, but it's bad. It's really bad for this one. And you can stop playing before the shaders are done, and I expect a lot, because it takes so long, so people get impatient, and I expect a lot of people did this. It runs kind of bad when the shaders aren't done caching. Like, it just runs bad. Like, it stutters, it's unstable, it can crash. So that definitely I think that definitely contributed to the bad review scores, because for a lot of people that didn't wait for them to cache, like, it just stutters. But it also just runs badly on certain hardware. I feel especially on Nvidia cards, and I'm on an AMD card, which is also what is in a PlayStation. And apparently, if you try to run it on Windows 10 and DX11 or Windows 10 and DX12, it also runs worse than on Windows 11 and DX12, which I'm also on. So I have good components, I have an AMD card, and I'm on, Windows 11. And apparently that's like the perfect storm to actually make the game run really, really, really well. I had stutter while I was caching shaders because I was also impatient, but for me, it didn't crash once. I had some stuttering and hitching and some loading screen, like, please wait while we actually load the shaders for this area. But as soon as they were done caching for me, I have no crashes, I have no stutter, I have the mouse micro stutter that reviews talk about. So I got really lucky, and I'm really happy I'm finally playing Last of Us after 10 years. So I don't know, that's why I put it on there, because right now I would definitely say don't buy it, wait until it's actually all fixed, because there are a lot of people are having a lot of issues. But I suppose if you're on an Intel 13700K and an AMD 7900 XTX, then and you're on Windows 11, I guess then try it, because for me it runs well. But yeah, it's definitely kind of been a massive shit show, and it's kind of embarrassing. Like, it's an embarrassment to Sony that they've released it this way. And yeah, they've had some patches out which apparently have helped some people but made it worse for other people, as patches go. So definitely don't touch it right now, and give it some time. But then I would have, for example, said the same thing exactly also about the port of Horizon Zero Dawn, because that was also a mess when that first came out, and it was bad, and it got good like half a year later. So yeah, wait and see, which is really unfortunate, because I know so many PC games that have been waiting to finally play this, and now it's here and it's shit. So it's kind of it really sucks. But yeah, I'm just happy it works for me.
Sony's such a mixed bag on those ports, eh?
Yeah, because some of them are really good.
Yeah, they're either like really good or like somewhere in the middle between really good and terrible.
Yeah, it's really odd. I don't know, but yeah, I'm just happy I finally get to play The Last of Us. I'm not super far in. I'm only about 5 hours in, but finally.
I'm glad you can play it.
Yeah, I'm happy it worked for me as well. But yeah, like definitely wait, especially because it's full price, right? If you buy it, like, I mean, I bought it on Humble, so I got it for cheaper because I have choice. Like I had a discount on it to a degree because I mean I still play for choice, but I get games for that. But yeah, I would definitely say wait and see until you buy it, because this one is not good at the moment. Like it doesn't run well. The game's great, but it just doesn't. It just for the majority of people, it just runs like crap. Especially if you're on a slightly lower end system. But even like a 3060 or something.
On the topic of The Last of Us, Raul, do you want to talk about Project Zomboid for a little bit?
Sure. I know it's something that's been talked on the podcast before because Sui, Drongo, and so many others have dipped their toe in. So Project Zomboid is a zombie survival game, and it's a roguelike in the sense that when you die, well, actually it can be roguelike or roguelite depending on how you play, because you can start a brand new world.
I was gonna say don't start this conversation with me because you will lose.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Blind.
It's a survival game. If it's not a turn-based game with randomly generated maps, it's not a roguelike. Not even close.
Blind is very much in the Berlin interpretation camp.
Well, that's fine.
It's a survival game.
Mm-hmm. But
I love that. Very good.
That's all it's got.
Yeah, but
There's no roguelike mechanics in that whatsoever.
Okay.
But the point being is, when you die, you lose everything if you make a new world. Like, there's no XP carrying or no meta progression. It's gone. You can also play in the same world as your previous character, which I actually don't recommend outside of multiplayer. But in that case, you keep what you've collected and all that. Your former self is now wandering the world as a zombie to reclaim your stuff from. So you do have some progression. But the game is really, 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 really good, and I highly recommend it. It is one of those games that once you get good enough that you can survive for like 3, 4, 5, 6 months, you kind of go, okay, well, what do I do now? And you have to come up with your own objectives, and that can be fun for a while, but it can be difficult. I have been playing on a character that I've been playing on since August that is my personal best. I think 141,000 kills on that character, on like kind of its default difficulty cranked up. But I used to hold the record for the highest kill count run ever streamed at 135,121 zombies killed. That got beaten, but it's a really fun game. One of the things I appreciate is a lot of games, your deaths can feel really like RNG. You weren't in control, like something off-screened you and you had no chance to react. And I will say in Project Zomboid, I've only had one death in my entire time playing it that I was like, that's not fair. Like everything else, I'm like, this is the cage I put myself in. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I've never gotten to that point in Zomboid where I'm that good that I can just survive. Like, I don't know.
I feel like if I got good at Project Zomboid, I would enjoy it less. Like, the way I like to play Project Zomboid is I get a server, and then I get 4 friends together, and then we make a bunch of really broken characters that are really, really bad at everything, and then we all jump into a Honda Civic, and then drive downtown with baseball bats, and see how many kills we can get before we all die horribly in the next 30 minutes, and it's great. That's how I enjoy that game.
Yeah, no, there is really, and I'm not going to say it's a problem. It's the classic, you have some games where as you play it, your character gets stronger and becomes more and more powerful compared to the world around them. And then you have the games that the enemies progress to become more and more powerful as you go, so like it scales up the difficulty. And Project Zomboid's definitely in that first category, where every day alive, it's easier to be alive another day. And so you do get to the point where you're like, okay, I'm one-shotting all the zombies. So like combat, while it's satisfying to watch the zombies fall down, kind of gets stale after a while because it's just very samey. But that's after you've put in 2, 3, 4, 500 hours into the game. You start getting to that point. So like where you can reliably get there, and at that point, you've kind of gotten your money's worth because I think it's like what is it like $20 or something like that.
It's a very cheap.
You can get it for dirt cheap when it's on sale. Like you get a full pack and it's like what, like $4 or $5 or something for one copy. Yeah. It's I mean, it's been around for a long time, like holy moly, but it's still being like developed and whatnot. And I'm actually like the new update sounds really good whenever we get it. Like it could be like later this year or in 3 years. I don't know, but it looks really.
It's the
sounds
only
really
game that's got a slower development cycle than Dwarf Fortress.
Yeah.
Yeah, that and I would almost put 7 Days to Die in that same category by now. Like they've been around so long that like zombie games are now like sort of making a comeback, and they're still around from that first cycle of zombie games.
My favorite factoid about Project Zomboid is that there are versions of that game you can't play anymore because the consoles are no longer supported.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't it originally sold on a website that doesn't exist anymore? Basically.
Oh, probably.
Like Desura or whatever it was called.
I
Like,
mean, I bought Zomboid on Desura. Same with Kenshi.
Yeah, exactly.
I bought both of those games on Desura. The difference is I don't still own Kenshi. I do still own Zomboid, though. But, man, Desura. That was a weird time. Is there anything else we want to kind of say about Project Zomboid, or are we just kind of...
I mean,
I actually realized. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. Go.
I was gonna say, I'd just say like if you're into games that death is punishing, it's a really good game for like the survival element and all that. It's also got a ridiculous modding scene. We're like competing with stuff like RimWorld in that modding scene. It is absolutely bonkers. So it does have a lot of stuff there, but it is one of those games I think most people pop in, they're going to play for a while, and go, never mind. Because I do think it's a niche game. But it's excellent. If you are into those kind of survival punishing games, I would recommend it.
Question about the modding scene. Can I play as Thomas the Tank Engine?
I'm pretty sure if you can't play as it, you can definitely play riding it. I've definitely seen some Thomas the Tank somewhere.
Okay, good. It is a perfect mod scene then.
Nice.
When they put Thomas the Tank Engine in the game, you know it's a good modding scene. It's like that, and when pro wrestlers start showing up at the game. That's how you know it's peak modding scene.
Oh, I think there is a mod that they've got the jump scare violin sound. I think they have like Randy Man Savage.
Okay, yeah, that would be pretty good. It's like either that or the Kool-Aid Man just screaming at you. It's like one of my favorite mods for a game ever. Sorry for a random tangent. Removes the realistic pooping sounds from Songs of Six and swaps it out with ducks quacking. Pretty great.
That sounds more pleasant.
It's way like less gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The developer claimed that he recorded all of the sounds with his mouth, and I am disturbed by it every time I hear it.
Oh my god. I just thought that sentence would go somewhere completely different, and I was kind of low-key horrified for a while.
No, they're not actual pooping sounds, but he made the sounds himself. He just made fart sounds in like 20 minutes.
Okay.
It's the most complicated sound file in the game. It's upsetting.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Kiri, what is Touch Type Tail?
Yeah, that's a cool game. That's out now, actually. I played the demo for that, I don't know, a year, 2 ago. It's a 2D game, an RTS typing game. So imagine you've got a little map with several waypoints. You've got a town hall somewhere, and the enemy has a town hall somewhere. And there are words above each building, and you type that word, then you're in that building menu. And then if it's the town hall, you can hire workers there. So you type the word that's standing up like that it says above each worker. That's how you hire them. And then you type the word above the mine. So you enter the mine and then you do mining stuff. So everything you do by typing a word. And it's super cool. You get to build a farm also for getting more gold. Then you get to build military units. So buildings first, barracks, and then different military units. And then you can move them around by typing the word for a path. And then they move over there and then they fight the enemy. And there's a campaign, which is really fun with also different game modes. There's even a cook serve delicious level, which is ridiculously hard. And skirmish mode against AI is also competitive mode. It's so much fun and it's very difficult because I'm not a fast typer, but it's really good. It's Epic exclusive, so they removed it completely from Steam, and now it's only on Epic. But I had a great time with it. Really enjoyed it. It was stressful but fun.
How long are the words that you have to type in it? Because I think that would determine my stress factor.
Yeah, so I was playing on normal, so there's easy, normal, and then I think there are 2 harder difficulties, and I had short words.
Okay.
So
well,
like,
you can...
I don't know, 5, maybe 6 letters.
I'm looking at a screenshot right now, and it's like plague, out, bulk, salam, hiccup, perk, raise, maroon, okay, gift, movies.
Yeah.
Floats.
That's doable then, okay.
Yes. Also, it's a medieval setting. Medieval fantasy, because there's also a bit of magic. Because you play a boy, basically, who has a magic typewriter. And you collect ink by writing words correctly. And then once the ink bar is full, you can then use it to cast a spell for either getting more gold, scouting a waypoint, rooting enemies to the ground, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I like the art. It's really nice. Yeah, it's a really good game. I like typing games. I also liked Epi Story and the other one, the other Typing Chronicles game. So I think...
Nano? Is it Nano
Yeah,
maybe?
Typing of the Dead.
I don't know that one, but yeah, Nano...
It's a first-person shooter.
Oh yeah, okay,
yeah.
I'll play that.
You type the words on the zombie, and the zombie gets shot.
Yeah.
It's like House of the Dead, which is
Oh, I would love that.
arcade game.
I just really like typing games. I think they're super fun. And this is actually an RTS, and it works surprisingly well. Like, it's so well thought out. Also, sorry, you go, and then I just remembered something.
No, I was just gonna ask if it is timed Epic exclusivity, or is it like Epic exclusive forever and ever and ever and ever?
I think it's forever now because it's actually the publisher, and they removed every trace of it from Steam.
Which generally means that it's you're never going to hear about it again.
Yeah.
The
It's very
discoverability on that
sad.
store is not good.
Because it's a great game. But it has Twitch extension. That's what I just remembered. And there's different modes for it. It's always alternating between the streamer plays and then chat plays. And there's a free-for-all, for example. And then everybody in chat can just type words and that happens on the screen then. Which is kind of a mess. It's also really funny.
Wow, yeah, that sounds crazy.
It is, but it's as long as chat doesn't mind, because for mining you actually have to stay in the mine and do the words, but then there's chatterly, and that never worked. But chat can simultaneously hire people, move the military around, do the farming, and so on, and use magic spells. And then there's the vote mode that didn't work either because of delay, because then it's just the word that gets typed in chat the most is going to be executed. Doesn't work with streaming that much. But then there's also the user choice or something. So basically, there will be a word displayed on stream, and the first person to write it in chat is the one who can control the game then for the next, 45 seconds. And that's really fun. And then it's the streamer's turn again for, I don't know, however long you want, you can customize that. Yeah, so really fun chat integration as well. And just, for me, exciting gameplay. I liked it.
Nice. Does it have achievements?
It does. It does have epic achievements, yes.
Nice. That's good.
So I think that kind of brings us to the end of the list of games, unless there's any anecdotes or things people would like to toss in here at this point.
I forgot a game actually that I played.
I mean, maybe save it for the next episode that you're on at this point.
I will probably forget about it.
Write it down in the list.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, I will forget about that. Good.
Okay.
Fair enough.
FG will forget about this.
Yes, I will.
It's like
Definitely,
the
100%.
anti-Telltale game. But on the topic of anti-Telltale games, we're going to go take a real quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the news in this week. And it's probably going to be some interesting things to cover because a lot of stuff happened. We'll be right back. And we're back with episode 62 of the Halcyon Frequency Podcast. We're going to be talking about the news in this week. So we got kind of a couple of stories here, and two of them are kind of connected and one of them isn't. So I'm going to, I don't know, just start off with this first one because, I don't know, it's an easy one. Microsoft is no longer doing the $1 Game Pass trial. So for those of you who are unaware, if you somehow missed it, for the last couple of years, Microsoft has had this deal where either if you buy Xbox, I think it's if you buy Xbox Gold, or if you buy a few other things, or if you just never subscribed to Game Pass before, you could just get a Game Pass subscription for $1 for the first 3 months, which is a phenomenal deal. I got it once and then had Game Pass for about a year and then has since unsubscribed because we stopped playing Age of Empires, which was the main thing that I was playing on Game Pass. And so I'm no longer a Game Pass subscriber, but I'm curious. Anybody else here surprised that it lasted as long as it did?
I am actually, yeah, because like they surely must have lost a lot of. I mean, obviously, it probably did what happened to you. People would get the offer and then stay subscribed for a while, but like, I don't know. It feels like such a loss leader. Like, I don't know. It's surprising that it stuck around as long, especially because you could finagle it and just get it again and again and again for that price as well. Like even on the same account, like if you just did it and then waited for half a year, you could just get the $1 offer again and just play for a month whatever you wanted and then get it again half a year later. So yeah, it's definitely surprising that it stuck around this long.
It still says it was great promotion though for them.
It was, yeah.
Maybe they lost money because of it, but the promotion, amazing.
Yeah, I assume just for my own streams as well, going like,
worth out of it for a
yeah,
while
I'm playing XYZ today. It's also on Game Pass, which you can, like, if you've never had it before, you can just get it for $1 and try it out. Yeah, I've definitely done that with a game. I did that with Grounded.
Like 4 months in a row where it didn't, and I was like,
the month that I had Game Pass when that
first
came out, and I was like, yeah, you know what, I didn't get a key for it. I'm just gonna jump on Game Pass for £1, I suppose, and try this game out. That's an early access, so I don't have to pay for it and get burnt on an early access game in case it never gets finished.
Smart, yeah.
Yep.
I never had Game Pass.
I only had it for that month, and after that I didn't anymore. I Nice.
Perfect. Yeah.
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 I didn't have Game Pass myself, but I vaguely remember, and I think it was The Verge who had the article. I think it was this last summer that it was one of the publishers who had games on Game Pass that they basically attributed Game Pass to like a huge loss in sales so far as money amount because, you know, people bought the Game Pass, played the game, and then didn't buy the game outside of Game Pass. You know, no idea how much, like, you know, sometimes people exaggerate stuff with that kind of thing, but so no idea like how credible their claim was. But I think once that announcement happened, that was going to get less people willing to participate with Game Pass so far as publishers, which kind of, I'm surprised it lasted as long as it did, but I feel like that was the thing that's going to make it so it didn't have a chance of sticking around.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I don't know. I had like, yeah, it was cheap, but then like organizing storage, like changing the storage of games on the Microsoft apps, and like not having it installed in the like OS folder, and like the download speed constantly fluctuating from like fast to like really slow, and then you had to like restart the download. And I don't know, like I had personally always more trouble with the actual app than for me felt worth it, because it was always so messy. Like
I remember Jess just constantly having troubles with it,
yeah,
not being able to get it to work at all.
Yeah, yeah. Because we were trying to play like Age of Empires together, and hers was just constantly messing up. Yeah, yeah, true. But I think for like gaming on a budget, it's still great.
It's a fantastic deal.
Absolutely.
And if you're not in the enthusiast market and you don't have 17 terabytes of hard drives in your computer like me, and you don't care about what drive stuff gets installed on because you only have one, it's a great service.
It is. I think it's really good for like families as well. Like you just get that subscription and you just be like, mommy, I want to, or daddy, I want to play this game. And then just like, yeah, okay, I'm going to download it.
Here, it has the Minecraft on it. There you go.
Yeah, it has the Minecraft and and that sort of stuff.
It doesn't have Roblox on it, which is great.
Yeah.
And then also you get other cool games around the edges.
Exactly. And they have like family plans and all that sort of stuff. So it's definitely good for a big group of gamers that exist, for sure.
Yep.
I was just never, I think, quite the target audience for it.
Same. But then as a variety streamer and variety indie streamer, what are you going to do with Game Pass, really?
Yeah.
I don't know. There's plenty of...
Exactly.
Like, I played both like Norco and Citizen Sleeper on Game Pass on stream, and those were games I didn't get key for. So,
yeah, fair.
Like, you don't always... Like, I don't know. If you're not necessarily going to get key for every game that you want to play, there's plenty that pop up there that, save you some money as a indie variety streamer. Not everybody gets every key for every game.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep, that's true.
All right, so this next story kind of needs some lead up, which I think is kind of funny. So a couple weeks ago, Ubisoft's President Yves was giving an interview, and they asked if Ubisoft was going to be at E3, and he said, "Oh, if E3 is happening, we will be there," or something to that effect. And then E3 was like, "Hey, so like E3 is happening," and Ubisoft was like, "Well, I guess we'll be at E3." And then the other day, thanks to this article here on Video Games Chronicle, they announced that actually we're going to be doing a show that week, but we're not going to be at E3. And I think that I can probably just run this directly into the next article that we have here, which is then like within 24 hours, E3 2023 was canceled completely. The physical event and all of their live stream E3 branded events have been canceled. I don't think the average person will really notice, because the first week of June is still going to be full of announcements. Like Microsoft is doing a thing, Sony is doing a thing, Nintendo is doing a thing, Ubisoft is doing a thing. It's all happening in like that same time in June. Plus there's the Summer Games Fest, who Jeff Keighley has been very, very stabby. He's got the knives out over there on Twitter with his responses, which honestly, hats off. So there's a lot of people that are like yelling at him and are being like, have some respect. It's like, nah, this shit's funny. But frankly, yeah, I don't know. It's an end of an era, and also just a really weird space, because like it's not like COVID killed it. It just died.
Do you think it's ever going to come back? It seems like such a hassle, and if everybody's doing their own thing now, like, why bother, right?
No, I don't think it's gonna come back. Sorry, but go ahead.
Yeah, no problem. I was gonna say, from working the conference scene in my past, I used to always give talks and all that on the tech side, dev side. When you have a conference that cancels this close, because it's only about 2-ish months out from when it was supposed to happen.
Yep.
They've
People already have
burned
hotels booked.
a lot of bridges doing this.
Yeah.
So it's really unlikely people are going to trust them going forward, that they need to trust them to make this go off the ground and not be kind of, dead conference on the go. So I do think E3 as we know it is done. Not that it couldn't be some different like live event or sorry, not live, like virtual event or something, but I don't think it'll ever be what it once was.
So
No.
That's a good point.
So for people who like maybe are unaware who are listening to this, E3 or the ESA is an American-based lobbying group that lobbies on behalf of video games, and E3 is their biggest revenue driver of the year. So they're a political organization that lobbies on behalf of video games. So when the American government is like, "Hey, yo, loot boxes, these seem awfully like gambling," the ESA will throw money at them and be like, "No, they're not. They're not gambling." So that's what the ESA does generally. And E3's existed because all of their very wealthy member companies would show stuff off at the events. And starting in I think 2009 or something, Activision stopped going officially. But yo, you wanted to see the Call of Duty? Well, we're at this hotel up the street, right? And over the years, it's just been every year one more company just drops out, and now it's at the point where everybody is international and not on U.S. soil based companies, and there's no big large companies left that are even attending. I think it was PlayOn and a few other people were announced, which is essentially just a PAX. And because it's not a consumer-focused event and it's an industry-focused event, even though they theoretically would let consumers in, it's not a pleasant event to go to just as an attendee. If you just have a PAX badge, or not a PAX badge, an E3 badge, you can do less than you could at PAX. You can line up for a few booths and play 2 minutes of a video game that is very unfinished and not ready for public consumption, and that is about it. And all of the really cool stuff that people think of when they think of E3, the normal E3 badge doesn't even give you access to that. You need a press badge or even an upper-level press badge to get into any of that side stuff. And also, a lot of the events that happen in the city now that are affiliated with the Summer Games Week, some of those events actually have their own separate spaces in these hotels now that are completely unrelated, that don't require an E3 badge, right? So there are actually going to be physical things happening in LA that week, just in different hotels that you have to sign up for separately. And that's all for press again anyway, because in order to get into those events, you have to sign up as a member of the press. So in a way, kind of, I feel like things are going back to the way they're supposed to be, because I don't think E3 is an event that people should go to. It's for press. A lot of the biggest problems that have come out of E3 over the past years is because people see too much of E3. We're not really supposed to see those press conferences. They're press conferences. They become big public showpieces, but originally they weren't for public consumption. It went that way eventually, but it's supposed to be an industry event.
I mean, that's totally true. Like a lot of the stuff that E3 slowly over the years morphed into, because it became so public and publicity focused as well, was we got those, quote unquote, in-game trailers that were fully rendered and all that sort of stuff.
The public doesn't
showcasing stuff.
The public doesn't understand that this is not a final product, right? And you're
exactly.
not supposed
so
to
believe
everything that you see on those screens, because that's not a final product. That's what they're aiming for. They're not necessarily going to hit it.
Yeah, and then say it either maliciously they obviously brought out those trailers, or because they was a press showing and they were trying to drum up hype and whatnot, and it just kind of went more and more that way. And then you had Nintendo starting to do their own thing and that sort of stuff, and pulling out, because the thing is, you can't just go to E3 as a company, right? You also have to apply and ask to be part. Just look at Devolver. they wanted to back in the day, and then they E3 like ESA just said no. So they did their own thing and completely took it over the top, which is
They
amazing.
just rented
every
the building
year.
across the street and put up a big sign.
Exactly. And it's like expensive to go too. Like
Yeah.
you have to pay a fee and everything to go for like those companies. It's crazy. So it's like
It's ESA lobbying
I am-
funding.
yeah, it is in a way. And I am a little bit sad that E3 is going away, because it was like this yearly event. It was like kind of video game Christmas in June, because like all the announcement would happen like in this one week, and it was all condensed, and then you'd have like, you had like the /r/games like the E3 list, and like there would be a recap for everything, and I was like super excited, and you got like cool announcements, and I don't know, like it was definitely like there was I enjoyed E3, like for like the hype and whatnot, but so I will miss that, but I also can 100% understand like the landscape of like video games and video game announcements and like shows and all that sort of stuff it has changed so very much. There's just not really a space for E3 anymore, and yeah, it is tedious to now go and watch all those different showcases, but it puts everybody a bit more on even footing, because now you get like these smaller showcases that kind of, since COVID, have exploded. Like just look at the wholesome showcase,
Or the Guerrilla
it's like
Collective.
suddenly this massive thing, and it's, I don't know, it's like the production value is getting better every year, and they have like cool games on there, and it's just, I don't know, like it's like it's nice that like that sort of stuff is taken over, which is a little bit, well, not just a little, it's a lot more grassroots than, as you said, the big political lobby. Like it's nice. It's cool. I'm excited to see where this like all changes to, even though yes, it's going to be a bit more tedious to kind of keep up with everything, that's for sure.
I don't know if it's necessarily going to be harder to keep up with things. Because like that's kind of what Jeff Keighley and the Summer Games Fest is trying to do, is just try and make it a digestible, organized-ish thing, so that at the very least live streams aren't running concurrently.
Yeah, but like as you said, like there is currently stuff running concurrently. You have like, I don't know, a bajillion different Twitch channels where everything is running, or YouTube channels where everything is running, and you have to kind of like,
Yeah, true.
coordinate that, and then check here and then check there, and then there's definitely also some companies that have no clue on how to do like a showcase, and they're like absolute snore fests. Oh god, yeah, I don't know, like it's don't know, it's interesting. It's definitely a shift in the whole industry, and I am actually kind of low-key excited. Also, I will miss the hype a little bit of E3 week, because it was like, E3 is coming up. All
I
the
used to
announcements,
just
let's
like straight
go.
up not sleep the week of E3. I'd just be like watching announcements all day and then listening to podcasts in the evening about the announcements that day. It's good times.
Yeah, it was good times. Yeah, definitely. I definitely stayed up late for certain years for like certain showcases to like watch them and see what's coming up, and yeah, end of an era.
Yep. End of an era. Well, all that being said, at this point in the show is when I say where we are ranked in the world. And currently, as of this morning when I checked, we are the 220th most listened to podcast about games and leisure in Poland, and the 72nd most listened to podcast in Honduras. So shout outs to our massive fan base of like 3 in Honduras. And thanks to everybody in Poland who listens to this show. And I
Thank you.
at this point in this episode is where I'm going to say to our lovely guest, Raul, who are you and where can people find you on the internet?
So, I am RualStorge. I mentioned at the beginning that I do a bunch of variety streaming. I do it on Twitch under RualStorge. That's RualStorge. Yes, I realize it's hard to spell. My apologies. But I just play variety games. As I mentioned, I do advocate for people with disabilities and neurodivergent conditions. It's something I've done since well before streaming, and I just keep doing it because, it's a place we can use more help.
AFG, Who are you, and where can people find you and your otters in a trench coat?
Yes. Hi, I'm FG Squared. I am not 3 otters in a trench coat. I also do not run a cult, and it is not my birthday. Just, would like to clarify that. But you can find me and everywhere I am just by going to fgsquared.tv.
And the Queen of the Snow Castle, Kiri?
Yes, I'm Kiri. You can find me on 2dkiri.com.
And I'm a floating skull. I don't know. Where do you find floating skulls? Twitch.tv/BLINDIRL and other platforms under the same username. This is the Halcyon Frequency Podcast. New episodes go up every Sunday with a variety of hosts from Halcyon Frequency. If you want to find more episodes of this show, you can find that at halcyonfrequency.com. If you would like to discuss this show, you can do that on our community Discord in the podcast talk room. And if you want to help this podcast out, I know it's a struggle, but go make an iTunes account, leave us an iTunes review. It doesn't even need to be about the podcast, and it doesn't even matter how many stars you give us. I think we're a 5-star show for a 5-star runtime, but frankly, do whatever the heck you please. Aside from that, not much is going to change until next week, so don't touch that dial. This is Halcyon Frequency, signing off.